All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Bakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson that I'm going to entitle The Male Prophet, or a Prophet of Israel, is the highest level man on the earth, alright? Or how a prophet is the highest level that a person can be on the earth. Because what I'm going to read is this story from the Apocrypha, right, and show that even a king, man, can actually be quite stupid, right? A king can actually be quite dumb, right? Whereas in this world, people think that because these people in this world have got money and they've got riches, that they're intelligent people. But I'm gonna actually show a story that kings can actually be stupid, man, right? They actually can have a very low level of intelligence, all right? This is Bel and the Dragon from the Apocrypha, Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1 and verse 3. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it, and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God, which was Yahweh. And the king said unto him, Why dost thou not worship Bel? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who have created the heaven and the earth, and have sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, Think thou not that Bel is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? So this king actually really believed that this statue of a dragon, right, was eating, what does it say? That was eating 12 great measures of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. So this king actually believed that a statue was eating food, right? He actually believed it. He actually thought, yeah, these statues eating these things, right? Verse 7. Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So he said, "What? Don't be deceived." He smiled and was like, "Don't be deceived. This is a statue, right? It's got brass inside. It's got brass outside and clay within it. It's never drank or ate anything, right?" Verse 8. So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who, let me read that again. Verse 8, so the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. So when he realized that he'd been deceived, he was like, nah, man, I ain't accepting this, and called his advisors over and all the priests and was like, if you don't tell me who it is that's been eating these things, someone's going to die tonight. That's what he said, right? Verse 9, but if you can certify me that Bel devoureth them, then Daniel shall die, for he have spoken blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. So he basically said, if you don't tell me who's been eating all these fine flour, these 40 sheep, and these vessels of wine, right? One of you or all of you are gonna die tonight. But if you can prove to me that it's Daniel, that the Bel the dragon is eating it, then Daniel's gonna die, because Daniel's lied against one of our gods, right? Verse 10. Now the priests of Bel were 70, so that's 70, beside their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. So Bel's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast and seal it with thine own signet. So you're gonna find out in this story that these men thought they were slick, right? So they said to the king, all right, put all the food inside Bel the dragon, right? And then seal up the door as you leave, right, with your own sigil, with your own symbol, right, so that we'll know if someone's been there. Verse 12, and tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel have eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made privy entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So they had a secret entrance into this Bel the dragon statue, right? This big statue that they would have had. where they could enter in anyway, right? That's a secret passage that they used to enter in, where they would eat all the fine flour, right? They'd eat the sheep and they'd eat the vessels, but they had managed to deceive this king into thinking that, oh, you have to give a sacrifice of all these things each. It was daily, right? Let me see. Yeah, you have to give a sacrifice of these things daily, otherwise Bel's gonna be angry with us, right? The king actually believed that, right? He actually fell for that deception, showing that a king is not always as intelligent as people actually think he is, right? A prophet of Yahweh Bar Shem Yahushai is the highest level man on the earth, and that's why when this is one of Daniel's great works that he did, right? One of Daniel's things that he showed his wisdom and showed that he's higher level, right? Another one can be found in the story of Susanna, and many others can be found in the book of Daniel, where he was able to translate or decipher a dream that he wasn't told, and that the king that had the dream had forgotten the dream, right? He was able to do many things. He was able to, he was able to decipher a message written on the wall by a finger of a man's hand that came out of nowhere when Belshazzar was drinking wine and getting drunk from the vessels of Israel, man, thinking that we ain't nothing, thinking that we're a joke nation. But he found out that way is actually the quite opposite. Verse 14. So when the king were when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had committed his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then they went out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so they departed. So he showed, listen, like Daniel was like, I'm gonna get ashes and throw them all on the floor, and made sure that the king knew that he did this, so that when the king sees these things there, and also if he sees what's happened with these ashes, he's gonna be like, nah, there was ashes here, so somebody did something to the ashes, right? Verse 15. Now in the night came the priests and their wives and children, as they're wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. So they ate all the food that they brought in there. In the morning betime, the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. But they didn't come in through the place, through the front door. They would have came in through the bottom, right? But it took for Daniel to bring this out. Otherwise, this king would have still kept doing that. He was still deceived, showing again that a king is not as intelligent as people think they are. And it's the same thing for all these people that are ruling things in this world. All these people on social media that they got these followings, all these podcast men, that they're getting all these honeys, all these pretty women, because they just say outlandish things on the YouTube channel, right? But if you bring them people in front of us, they'll find out that they're not as intelligent as they think they are. And that's why you had people like Tucker Carlson, when he met the apostles of Great Millstone, he was humble and couldn't really say nothing. And I remember a video way back where there was a guy that called himself a Renaissance man and all that. And he was in front of the apostles, and he was asking them questions on iconoclasm and asking them questions of things. And he ran down the street. And I remember another video of the apostles of Great Millstone where they was talking to an Edomite woman that she spent $80,000 on her Christian doctrine that she'd been taught. She spent that at universities and colleges and all of these things, right? And she didn't know nothing, but she'd spent 80,000, but she'd learned more. She ended up learning more in a 20-minute conversation with the apostles than she learned from the whole time that she spent there. And Apostle Tahar, I believe, told her, you should have just gave me that money and came to me, and I would have told you the scriptures, because all that money basically went down the drain. And that video, I think, is somewhere on this YouTube channel, actually. I've got a playlist that's called like Apostles Teachings or something like that, and you can find the video that I'm talking about, and find most of the videos that I'm talking about on that playlist called Apostles Teachings, or Teaching of the Apostles, or something like that. That's on this channel, of all the videos that Dave did, like that kind of sort that I've found and came across, that I've added to the channel, because some of them I forgot probably when I've came across them. Let me carry on in this. Verse 15. In fact, verse 16. And in the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Bel, and with thee is no deceiver also. He was still deceived, man. He was like, see, the Bel ate it and was probably in front of Daniel like, see, there ain't no deceit in you, right? But what did Daniel say? Verse 19. Then Daniel laughed and held the king that he should not go in, and said, behold now the pavement, and mark well whose footprints are these. And the king said, I see footprints of men, women, and children. And the king was angry. Let me read that again. And the king said, I see footprints of men, women, and children. And the king was angry. So he ended up seeing the footprints in the ashes, man. And then he was like, damn, there ain't no Bel, the dragon, right? He realized, man, I've been deceived all this time. Me, a king, was thinking that a dragon statue is eating things when the dragon statue probably didn't even have a mouth that could open or close. And it just shows that a king can actually be stupid, right? They can have power to say, this person, like this king, he had power to say, this person dies if this happens, that person dies if that happens. But yet he was stupid. He wasn't intelligent, man. He just had power. And we're living in a world right now where there's people that have even more power than this king had, right? They've got power to do many things, but the things that they've got power to do, they're still dumb. And that's why Isaiah, the 47th chapter, speaks about all the things that Esau had power to do, but he trusted in his wickedness. Verse 19, and then laughed Daniel and said, then Daniel laughed and held the king that he should not go in, and said, behold now the pavement, and mark well whose footprints are these. And the king said, I see footprints of men, women, and children. And then the king was rough, and then the king was angry, and took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privy doors where they came in, and consumed such things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. So the king was deceived by this Bel statue, right? Was like, nah, man, I'm tired of the deception. Daniel, do what you want to do with this. And Daniel destroyed the temple and destroyed the statue, man. But this is just one of many stories that shows that a king is not nowhere near as intelligent as people think they are. And all these people that have got power, all these people have, even within our nation, man, right? Even our kings of our nation were not smarter than the prophets, man. They was lower level than the prophets, because Zedekiah was told by Jeremiah what to do. He didn't listen, and he got his eyes dragged out of his head, man. And many other kings didn't want to listen to what Jeremiah told them. Neither did they want to listen to what Isaiah told them. Neither did they listen to Ezekiel or Amos. Neither did any of the Israelites listen to Stephen. In fact, they stoned him to death. And they didn't listen to Yahushua neither. A lot of Israelites didn't. And Yahushua didn't even do nothing wrong. But that just caused envy within them, right? Because then they ended up realizing how evil they was. And he told them to their face, I'm doing good things, roughly paraphrasing, I'm doing good things, and why do you want to kill me? And they knew they did want to kill him, but they was like, man, you've gone mad. No one ain't trying to kill you. And I could picture people from our nation, man, wicked demons from our nation, that we say, man, really, if you had the chance, if we was to say to them, really, if you had the chance, all you scoffers, you'd really want to kill us, right? They'd say, nah, who wants to kill you? What are you talking about, man? No, they don't want to kill you. But really, they do want to kill people that speak about the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Really, they do want to, man. But this was just a video, man, showing that. And there's more to this story that people can read for themselves, right? And I'll just roughly paraphrase. In fact, I'll go to one more point, man, to show the power of Yahweh, right? Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1 and verse 33. And this is after all the people in the after Bel had been destroyed by Daniel. All the people of the land was like, man, the king's lost his mind. Give us Daniel, otherwise we're gonna kill you. So he threw Daniel in a pit, and this was the second time that Daniel ended up getting thrown into a pit of lions, right? But Daniel just did the same thing as before, was humble and believed in Yahweh, and this is what ended up happening. Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1 and verse 33. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage, and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord Yahweh said unto Habakkuk, go carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den? And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. So the angel said, take this food to a whole nother country, right? A whole nother land, right? To where Daniel is in a pit. He said that to him. But Habakkuk was like, I don't know where I've never been Babylon before. And I don't even know where the pit that you're talking about is. Verse 36. Then the angel of the Lord Yahweh took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of the spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God have sent thee. Now, a movie that I can think of to kind of show the kind of thing that happened to that how I picture it in my mind anyway, that happened to Habakkuk is a movie called X-Men. There's an X-Men movie, right? And there's a character that can run super fast called Quicksilver. And there's a scene in the movie, right, where Magneto is being broken out of jail by this character, and I think his name's Quicksilver, but it's the character that can run fast in the X-Men movies anyway. And Magneto is being broken out of prison by this character, and the character grabs Magneto by the back of the head, right? And then he says, he says something along the lines to him like, this is so that you don't break your neck or something along those lines. And he just grabs him and runs with him super fast right out of the prison, man. Right? And then when Magneto's stopped, he feels nauseous and all that. So that might have been the kind of thing that was happening to Habakkuk, man. He was taken fast from one place to another, man. That would have been a shock to the system, right? That would have been a spiritual thing for him to even witness, to increase his faith in Yahweh, and to also increase Daniel's faith in Yahweh also. Because when you read this story, the king didn't end up seeing Habakkuk. He got taken back to where he was. Let me carry on reading. And Habakkuk, verse 37, and Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which Yahweh have sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O Yahweh, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of Yahweh set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. So none of these people, none of these heathens got to understand that while Daniel was in the lion's den, he had a man come into the lion's den and the angel come in there and be fed. And why would Yahweh do this? Because he did it for a prophet. And a prophet is the highest ranked person on the earth. And that's why when people cry about, oh, did Yahweh send 40, make two she bears come out of the woods and kill 40 children? Oh, they were just babies that said, go up thou bald head, go up thou bald head. Them kids should have shut their mouth. Right? Because them kids' lives in the eyes of Yahweh is not higher rank than the eyes of a prophet. Right? And even among prophets, there's different ranks, because Moses was a prophet that Yahweh came to and spoke plainly, whereas other prophets received visions in the night and was spoken to in the night in visions. He didn't deal with every prophet in the same way. Right? Verse 40. Upon the seventh day the king went to bewail Daniel, and when he came to the den, he looked in and beheld Daniel was sitting. And that even proves that kings are dumb, because this king was prepared to betray Daniel, right, to save his own life, when he already saw that Daniel was wiser than those men that wanted to take him out anyway. Right? Verse 41. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art Yahweh, power of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. So it took all of this for him to receive and understand that Yahweh exists, and that Yahweh is greater than any of the gods that they make. Right? And he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. So it took all of that for him to be like, man, I'm gonna throw all of you in there, which shows that he had the power to throw them in there, but was scared and didn't say, nah. Daniel showed himself wise. I ain't throwing Daniel in nowhere. In fact, I'm gonna throw all of you guys in there, for even suggesting that I would throw Daniel in there. If he had the power after he saw that Yahweh saved Daniel, Why wouldn't he have not had power before that? He would have had power both times, man. But it shows that a king is simple. Even a king can be stupid, man. And that goes the same for all you red pill guys that you got 300 million, right? You've got 30,000 worth of rings on your neck, of rings on your hands. You got the bust down rolling, all that. You got all these chains. You're a millionaire. You go into these yacht parties and all that. You own yachts. You own all these cars. You're still stupid. Because if we ask some of you, what's your nationality? You don't know. So how smart are you really? Right? A prophet of Yahweh is the highest ranked person, man. That's the highest ranked person on the earth. I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.